One that I'm really interested to hear your opinion on, Nick, is this recent statement from Tulsi Gabbard. This is the second statement she's put out that I've found to be pretty, I guess I don't want to even say disappointing because I've never really, been all that impressed by Tulsi to begin with. But I know a lot of people in our audience do like Tulsi Gabbard, so I don't want to be, too unnecessarily harsh. I want to see if you agree that this is kind of bullshit. But yeah, she recently tweeted this. I think it was today, actually. I'll throw it up on screen. Our hearts and families go out to our brothers and sisters who were killed and wounded in the terrorist attacks in Kabul. Because I'm on active duty, I'm limited to what I can say, but what I can say is this incident should remind the American people that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are alive and well and actively trying to use terror to try to force the world to accept their demand that we convert to their interpretation of Islam. And she put out a video too that's corresponding, which I'll play just in case it wasn't clear enough her message. But yeah, let's take a listen to this.
Our hearts go out to the families of our brothers and sisters who were killed and wounded in the terrorist attacks in Kabul. Now, because I'm currently serving on active duty, I'm limited to what I can say right now, but what I can say is this. This incident should remind the American people that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are alive and well and are actively continuing to use terror to try to force the world to accept their demand that we convert to their interpretation of Islam. Unfortunately, America's powerful elite have downplayed this threat for many years for various reasons, which I'll be talking about more in depth in the near future.
Yeah, so this is crazy, obviously coming from the supposed anti-war candidate. Again, I think it's kind of just mask off Islamophobia. And to say that that this threat hasn't been talked about enough by our elites, are you fucking kidding me? What do you think the entire impetus for our wars in the Middle East have been? So yeah, I thought this was crazy. Did you have the same reaction, Nick?
This is so bad. A lot of people who follow my political journey knew I used to like Tulsi. But Tulsi is a politician, and I hold all politicians at the highest of all standard. So I like Tulsi Gabbard because like the reason, and I'll explain this. I don't know exactly how much time we have because I can talk with it. But anyway, I remember I like Tulsi because I saw her stand up for Bernie in 2016. So I'm like, oh, she's the heir apparent to Bernie's throne because she was DNC vice chair, and people don't realize that the corporate media and even the establishment media was like, yo, Tulsi Gabbard is the next big thing. CNN actually did a spotlight where they like, yo, Tulsi has a great future in the Democratic Party establishment. So my mindset at first, when I saw that she gave that up, she gave up a potential amazing career in the Democratic establishment to back up Bernie. So I'm like, oh, she's a real comrade. But in hindsight, that was just a very good career move because she splintered from our movement so far. And I had a lot of criticism of her coming from a very good place because there was a lot of criticisms. And there was still a lot of criticism to this day out here at Tulsi. I'm like, all right, you're just being stupid. That's Hillary Clinton, K-Hive nonsense. Stop that. There was real criticism of Tulsi, and a lot of leftists had a lot of dumbass criticisms of her. But I had like legitimate real ones, and there was people who was anti-imperialist. And once again, I told you guys, I went through one hell of a learn, and I will learn more about anti-imperialism for the last few years. And I've realized, like, yeah, Tulsi has some legitimate blind spot, like on her war against terror. And even then, these comments are disgusting, like pretending that people haven't been very critical of Islam. I have so many comrades. I'm not got to name them, but I have so many Muslim comrades that grew up in post 9/11. And you know how much that pisses them off when they hear Tulsi say stuff like that. These people have been bullied and harassed. And I heard horror stories. I'm not gonna butcher their stories, but they like, yo, our family been threatened. We had death threats. We had to move around our neighborhoods after 9/11. And this was coming from both the Democratic and Republican Party that was extremely anti. And I remember back in my more shit liberty days, back when I used to fall for propaganda, I used to think that as well. Like, oh, it's Islam. What the hell is going on in Islam? And if you have that opinion, what is more responsible for death and destruction than the Judeo-Christian faith? This is what the faith that is being led by the United States that jailed 1/4 of the world's prison population. We had destabilized the Middle East and killed millions of people in the Middle East. We had killed and tortured and destroyed the global South. And look at Operation Condor. Crimes after crimes.
Everything that happened to destabilize and underdevelop Africa was done in the name of Christianity. I mean, yeah, so you could play that game all fucking day. And just to chime right in here on Tulsi Gabbard, I think that this all goes back to, I think somebody put it actually pretty well. She has like soldier think, like she's got soldier brain, right? Like everything about her is detected as if like it's an immediate threat to the United States. And I think that's always been a problem for Tulsi. I also, and I think Gavin as well, were, turned on to her because she was like, willing to say fuck the rules, fuck Hillary Clinton, like I'm standing with Bernie Sanders, all that jazz. But it just seems like it's been a convenient way for her to like pigeonhole a lane that's like the lefties that like would have voted for Bernie Sanders, but then maybe like got attracted to Trump's anti-war message. And because it's not that she's so anti-war, it's that she's anti like certain aspects of it. She's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't super surprised, but this was a super cringy, baseless take that could have come from somebody like super cringy like Sam Harris, and I wouldn't have been like fucking surprised. Like this could have been a really bad, like I'm an Islamophobic and it's pretty openly known person that tweeted this.
Yeah. Also, I think it's just embarrassing that she starts off by saying like, "Oh, ISIS and Al Qaeda are such a big threat, and therefore, what we need to, go create more ISIS's and more Al Qaedas because ISIS exists because of our involvement in the Middle East. So how are you not going to acknowledge that? That's like that's what you should acknowledge very first out of everything. Is that if you think ISIS is a threat, then we should be out of there fucking yesterday." Not this weird, like, I don't even know what she's suggesting here. It's weird, but it's like how you, at one hand, going to be this quote unquote anti-war, anti-imperialist candidate or politician or whatever she is. But then on the other hand, you're going to be like, let's not downplay the threat of radical Islamic terrorists like a fucking Republican neocon. So she's just all over the place. And I've always found it to be a little bit inconsistent. I think you're correct that it's not even necessarily that she's really against imperialism. It seems to be more that she's against like what she would consider wasting U.S. resources in the Middle East. That seems to be what her issue is, not necessarily imperialism. So, I think that Tulsi Gabbard is a really weird character. She's a bit of a snake. And also she's just kind of a fucking Karen. She's a TERF. She puts out these weird statements about how we need to stop like focusing on race issues and come together as a country, like this kind of weird stuff that really just rubs me the wrong way.
And this is kind of something I noticed with Tulsi because a lot of people remember I was on the campaign saying that we should have Bernie and Tulsi as president, vice president. So I gave a lot of benefit to Tulsi Gabbard, but it's one of the things I realized that she's very politically calculating, and people don't really underestimate that. And I had an old video I had before where I outlined. I actually met Tulsi Gabbard at a South Carolina town hall, and it was very interesting. She was actually really great to talk to. And this is the thing: when you talk to her and we see her present in the room, it's like she is great. She's actually a really underrated politician in terms of how she can win people over. And as I mentioned before, I liked Tulsi at first because she did everything for Bernie, but that was a calculation. And now her kind of doing this Islamophobia, that's another calculation because she's pondering to the right wing, and that she want to go to right wing media sphere because she saw that the progressive left turned against her, like the AOC and the Squad. They turned against Tulsi, and then she already had the Democrat establishment that didn't like her. So that's literally what it is. It literally was a calculation. She said, all right, we lost the far left, we lost a neoliberal centrist, so I'm gonna ponder more to the right wing and peel away some of those independent leftists that used to like me. So people gotta understand everything that Tulsi does is very calculating, and that's what that's why her take is what it is. That's why she seemed very inconsistent, because she was very progressive when she went over the progressive left, but when she realized that wasn't happening, when she realized Bernie had it unlocked, that when she started to, that one, I got a new Medicare for all plan. Like, you see that? So it's very calculating what she does.
Yeah, one more comment on the Tulsi thing, Nick. I was going to say I totally sympathize with that position. I agree that when she came out for Bernie and stepped down as the DNC chair, that was really impressive. And I thought at the time it was really courageous too. So I was on the Tulsi train myself for a little bit. And also, you can say anything you want about Tulsi, but no one can take away for her the fact that she destroyed Kamala on that debate stage. That will never get old.
My favorite debate moments ever.
Me too.
I would never take that away from her.
Yeah, exactly.
That was beautiful.
And she could do anything, and I'll still play that clip because it's just such a great destruction of Kamala, and I will always love her for that alone. So well, not love her, but you know what I'm saying.
And I actually got really frustrated with her because I was waiting for that with Biden. But she never went. That's when I really started becoming suspect. Like, why is she not going after Biden? And I'm like, what the you doing? So she went to Kamala to get those cheap, because she was an easy target. But she was wasn't really calling out the rest of it. She went after Pete Buttigieg, but everyone was going after Pete Buttigieg at the same time when she was going after her. So that was one thing. Anyway, sorry, that's what I thought was shady as well.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. She never exerted that same energy against Biden, who obviously was the bigger threat overall at the end of the day. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And thanks for the super chat, Rodrigo. Tulsi 2024. She's got more balls than Bernie. I don't know if that's true because she also
to drop bombs over the fucking Middle East and simp for Modi and all kinds of shit. Yeah, I hate trans kids. Yeah, make sure they can't play sports.
Yeah, also she endorsed Biden just like Bernie Sanders did, so I don't really think that that's necessarily fair to say, but obviously you're entitled to your opinion, and thank you for the 199. Also looks like we got one more super chat. Thank you, Cheryl Tyler. What was that?
The one thing I do want to add, like and it's something I noticed as well. Every time it seems like Tulsi is like really making a ballsy play, once again she's really politically calculating. So people say, "Oh, Tulsi is ballsy because she called out Hillary Clinton." That's a duh. Like, that's actually helped her campaign. So that was a good thing for her to do. So it's not like she's making any moves and risking. Like, she was making the calculation. Anyway, back to you guys. I just want to add that.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it, Nick. That's absolutely correct. And yeah, obviously, shitting on Hillary Clinton is not exactly that impressive. It's like, yeah, obviously.
Water's wet.
Right. Yeah. But again, thanks for the $20, Cheryl. Thanks for being one of the few to tell the truth about Tulsi. I loved her when she got behind Bernie, but she's walked away from progressive policies and has become strange. And yeah, I totally agree with that. I really appreciate not only the donation, but the credit. Zach and I have been calling out Tulsi Gabbard since the beginning of our channel. It was actually the first thing that we ever took major shit for on this channel was when we came after Tulsi Gabbard. But I think we've been pretty vindicated over the last year or so, as she's totally, confirmed and, just really personified all of the people that have said, that have criticized her, called her out, or been suspicious of her, at least from the left. Obviously, like you said, also, Nick, there's a lot of people that do come at her for, bad faith reasons from, the wrong place.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry, Zach, I'll pass right to you. But there's the very interesting thing to back up what you're saying. Because I actually developed a lot of Tulsi people that would follow me because I was pro Tulsi. And I remember that initial breakup. Like, I remember there was a ton of Tulsi people mad when I started making that switch. Like, I got so much shit for Tulsi people. But the thing is, like, a lot of these people started to come back. And now, because people know what I'm about. Like, I'm not going to hold back against any politician. Yeah. So I think there was a lot of Tulsi people that, like, kind of respect that, too. Because they saw me, like, go after the squad. Even though because I used, like, the squad. I used, like, Bernie. I used like, Tulsi. I used, like, everyone who was left of center. But everyone saw I turned on Tulsi, and I turned on Squad. So people saw like, oh, at least he's being consistent.